Hello and welcome to the show. You know, this is the show where we sit back and we make daily conversation with regular people instead of our mainstream of people that we have here, you know, on the show, such as like stars and, you know, guests and authors of books and stuff. So today we're going to sit back and we're going to make conversation with Joe Ramsey. And Joe Ramsey, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here on the show today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And so we're going to sit back and we're going to make conversations about the times that you spent in the Navy. Because you are a veteran, right?
Yes, sir.
And you have been a veteran for how many years?
Since I was honorably discharged in 1993, and 6 years later, my inactive reserve time was up. So technically, you could say 99, but I got my honorable discharge March 5th, 93.
Okay. And today you want to make conversations about what?
I would like to address the fact that I had a lot of opportunities, you know, in serving my country. I got to see different parts of the world I'd never see. I've got to you know, experience things. I've got a lot of medical help. I've been able to go through treatment programs, and.
But before we get into all of that, tell me, why did you decide to join the Navy?
Because I wanted to serve my country for our freedom.
Okay, so wouldn't it be fair to say that the United States already is a free country?
Yeah, but I wanted to help maintain that it was free.
Okay.
And we were at war when I joined, so I felt obligated, and there wasn't no draft or nothing, so I didn't just want to make my dad proud or my mom proud, but I wanted to serve my country. I have other people in my family that have served the country, and I'm proud of them, so I wanted my family to be proud of me also.
Okay, that's good. So what type of position did you have while being in the Navy?
Well, I did a miscellaneous things, but I was mainly, because I was undesignated, I was mainly a bosun mate, which is you do the maintenance all over the ship, you paint, you open the lifeboats, put them, you know, get them ready so when we really need them, they open. You do a lot of cruddy work, like shine the shackles for the captain. Mm-hmm. You do port and starboard watch when you're underway for air, surface, and submerged contacts. And then you do a lot of other things, but I mainly spent my time on the side of the ship painting because I was about 140 pounds. I was one of the lightweights, and it was easier to pull me back up.
Okay. So life in the Navy, how was that for you?
Well, other than the drinking and partying that I did, it was pretty cool. I got to go to Russia, France, Greece, Spain, Egypt, different parts of Italy. I got to experience a lot of things that I probably would never experience otherwise, see parts of the world. I've been to the Colosseum, I've been to Rome, Naples, had a girlfriend in Gaeta. I could have went to Venice, I could have went to the Vatican. There was a lot of things some of my friends were doing, and I kind of hung back and stayed with other friends partying.
Mm-hmm. So you did get an opportunity to travel the world, see a lot of sites that you never seen before.
Yeah.
You know, but you mentioned that you done a lot of partying in the Navy.
Yeah.
Is that one of the norms that we?
Oh yeah, it's like in the UP. If you go to college in the Upper Peninsula, if probably 80 or 90% of people drink. Well, you get a bunch of young kids that join the service at 18 to 20, and of course they're in the partying mode still, you know. They haven't learned discipline and a lot of things that you learn while you're in the service. Mm-hmm. And they let you drink before you're 21, a lot of places that you live when you're in the service.
Well, you mean like mainly places overseas, though, because
mainly, but like when I went through Orlando, at 20 we could drink beer at the PX, or not PX, but the we couldn't go out in town and drink, you know, but you could get a glass of beer right there.
Has the drinking caused a problem for you
Oh.
while you were in the Navy?
The drinking's caused problem in the Navy, out of the Navy. Most of the problems I've experienced in life have to drinking.
In what way?
I've gotten incarcerated. When I was in the service, I had to go to mandatory AA meetings, and we had to catch a boat to go into town, an LCM, which got into town about an hour before, and we had to catch another one back. So I used that time to get drunk because I was on restriction. I spent like 5 months on restriction for getting in trouble for drinking and coming back late or just doing stupid things that I wouldn't do when I'm me.
So how has that helped the Navy, you know, with all this drinking you were doing and stuff? How was it that you were a great assistance to the Navy if you stayed drunk all the time?
Well, I wasn't drunk all the time. I mean, after hours on Liberty, I'd be drunk, but it probably distilled in me some discipline and maybe responsibility to put the drink down because I knew I had to work in the morning.
Does the Navy install discipline in people, or?
Well, I mean, if you mess up, they're not just gonna sit back and slap you on your hand, send you your mama. So yeah, they get everywhere that you know, you're gonna go in somewhere that they try to break you down and then build you back up. There's gonna be a little discipline involved.
Okay. You know, we're gonna go into a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Joe Remy. We'll be right back.
We served our country like those before us.
You know, it was a dangerous area. All of Vietnam was dangerous.
The carnage of war left an indelible mark on me.
We came back and built lives. As time went on, we faced new challenges and found support to handle them.
I went to the VA, talked to my doctor.
I started doing groups. I started doing one-on-one counseling.
At MakeTheConnection.net, you can hear our stories and find tools and services available to you.
Never look a howler monkey in the eye. Fried ants are delicious. We finished a clinic in a rainstorm.
Really?
My students actually ended up teaching me.
In La Keg, à la King.
Think managing a sales team is tough. Try working with 5 different villages. After 2 months, I was ready to quit, but after 2 years, I didn't want to leave. I didn't know I had it in me.
Turn 2 years of service into a lifetime of experience. To all the Peace Corps volunteers, past, present, and future, thank you for your service to your country.
Hello and welcome back. Today my guest is Joe Remy, and we've been sitting here making conversation because, you know, this is the show where we sit back and we make conversation with real people. And just before we went into the commercial break, Joe was telling us about all the drinking that he done while he was in the Navy. So we're going to continue that conversation. So Joe, you know, you done a lot of drinking in the Navy. You know, so how was it that you were able to do your job in the Navy at the same time of doing all this drinking? Tell us.
Well, I've always, I don't know if it was my dad that instilled responsibility or whatever, but I knew that I was responsible in one way while I was being irresponsible. I knew when to stop drinking so I could be at work the next day, or so I could function. But there was sometimes I just said, well, we're only going to be here 2 days, and the captain said be back at midnight, and I come in at 6 o'clock in the morning and threw my ID at him, and I knew that was going to give me 30 days on restriction, but I didn't care because we were going back to our normal port anyway, and I was trying to hang out with some.
So was you one of the difficult ones that was in the Navy?
I probably not. I was a hard worker. I learned fast, but I definitely spent a little bit of time in trouble. I mean, I didn't do nothing to where they could lock me up on the outside, but they tried to correct some of my rebelling, episodes, I could say.
So you rebelled a lot toward the officers?
No, just a lot of rules. Some rules are just ignorant, I think. And some rules, I understand that there has to be rules. But if we're going to defend our country, we ought to be able to, like normally we can stay out till 2 in the morning. But since we pulled up next to an admiral, his ship, the guys that were bosun mates were getting off at noon, and we're working till 6 or so to try to, so my captain can make the admiral feel good because he's underneath the admiral. And then instead of coming back at midnight like everybody else, or 2 like everybody else, we had to come back at midnight. So my captain could kiss up to the admiral, but so he could look, make himself look good to the admiral.
So it sounds like to me that you were one of these people that didn't follow rules accordingly how one should follow the rules.
Well, I followed them, but
you got into a lot of trouble.
I analyzed a lot of things as I followed the rules. I've had this. I'd usually, like when we're talking, the old Joe would be thinking about 10 different things at once the whole time, from the time I get up till the time I go to bed. So I'm having all these conversations like this, and now it's like, it just stays focused on I can't say I'm the same person I used to be. But yeah, I probably spent a lot of time trying to get my viewpoint met, and I'd listen to their viewpoint, but I didn't really care about their viewpoint, and they didn't really care about my viewpoint, so we kind of had the same.
But you were at what age when you were in the Navy?
I joined at 21, same year I was baptized. I served till I was 23, then the 6 years after. But I kind of wish I would have stayed in, but at the same time, I was too adventurous to have 20 chiefs and only 5 Indians.
Okay, so how did you get started into drinking? Did you start drinking while you were in the Navy, or were you drinking before you went into the Navy?
The first time I got drunk, I was 8.5 years old, which is kind of stupid, but that's all right. It was back when we were playing like the old Atari video games where the football players didn't look like football players. They looked like the little ghost on Pac-Man. Anyway, the first time I got drunk, I was at a buddy's house. We drank like about that much tequila. We split the worm. We drank about a half gallon of wine, some Canadian Mist, some mint stuff. There was bottles all over. And I never knew what a hangover was, but when my buddy's dad got home, we were busted. And so I didn't really start drinking until probably 14, 15. My next door neighbor had a pony keg with like 2 pony kegs in the freezer. He had a pool table, a couple computers, about 500 movies. So it was my home away from home.
So you started drinking at the age of 8 years old?
The first time I got drunk, I was 8.5, but I didn't start drinking until I was probably almost a freshman in high school.
Okay, so where did you get the liquor from at 8 years old?
My buddy's parents had a bunch of liquor above their fridge in a cabinet.
And you guys just went on and helped yourself?
When they were gone, they showed horses, so they were gone for like 3 hours while they were doing their showing horses. We were partying.
And the next time you started drinking was in high school?
Yeah.
Tell me, how did that start?
Just the pursuit of women and I don't know. I did a little bit of sports, but I was mainly into women, and I always liked to kind of experiment with different things. But alcohol made it easier to talk to women. It made it easier to not be shy. It made it easier to dance. At least these were all the justifications I was trying to give myself.
So the alcohol made you feel good to reach some of your goals in life, I guess.
It loosened me up. I wasn't so held back. I just kind of, what it did basically was make it to where I couldn't make good judgments and stuff. But at the time, I thought it was just loosening me up so I could be free a little bit.
You know, what kind of advice can you give to some of our youngsters that's out there that experiencing alcoholism and drinking alcohol and doing all other kind of stuff? What type of advice can you give them where they can't make the same mistake like you made?
Listen to your parents, because they're usually right anyway. Don't try to rebel and think you know everything. Probably, you know, you think it's fun now, but you're gonna pay for it later. I'd say try to do good in school and get a scholarship or something, because it's really important. You know, all the party and stuff, if you really want to party, you can wait till after college and party, or have your own house and have a career. If you drink and you go to parties and stuff, you might end up getting some girl pregnant, and that's gonna mess you up for going to college. It seems like it's fun, but there's a lot of things that it leads to that ain't so fun.
Going to a short break, and we'll be right back with more of the Lattimore Show. We'll be right back.
I've changed apartments several times. My roommates have always been trouble. Now, because of the economy, I've had to move back home. When my mom gets drunk, she tells me everything I do is going to fail. I get into arguments with her about her drinking. Dad goes to Al-Anon family groups. I didn't think Al-Anon would work for me, but every time I go, I feel better. If someone's drinking bothers you, you might find help in an Al-Anon family group meeting right here in our community. I found support there. You can too. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or visit Al-Anon family groups.
I don't want another drinking man in my life. I want to feel more fulfilled. Does my happiness depend on whether someone else drinks? My pastor suggested I try Al-Anon family groups, and I'm glad I did. Are you troubled by someone else's drinking? You might be surprised at what you could learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Welcome back. I've been sitting here making conversation with Joe Ramsey, and he is a veteran. He formerly was in the Navy. Back in 93, he was in the Navy. And he spoke about, before we went into the commercial break, he talked a lot about, drinking as a youngster and then continuing his drinking when he was in the Navy. So, I would like to know, how has that hindered your life now that you're much older now? Has it hindered your life in any way that you can't do some of the things that you used to do, because of your drinking?
Well, I got out in 93, and every time I've ever been in trouble with the law was drinking been behind it. I don't got no felonies. I'm a good guy. I'm a Christian, but there's a lot of things I could have learned just by listening to my dad instead of having to go out and do it the hard way and learn the hard way, and 2.5 years later say, I should have listened, you're right, because he was always right. But as far as how is it hindered, I was married for 18 years. We got married in 94. We got divorced in 2012. I've got like 7 kids.
Did you drink while you were married?
Oh yeah, I drank, did drugs.
How often?
Daily. Treated my wife wrong.
That even bothers you to this day?
Treated my kids wrong. My friends wrong. Parents wrong. I've been stabbed 3 times. I've had guns pulled on me. I've lost 2 kids. at childbirth. It wasn't because I was drinking or nothing, but I've got driving under the influence. I've got 3 attempted assaults on police officers.
Let's talk a little bit about those assaults on police officers, though, because, you know, right now, you know, we are hearing a lot of people are getting into trouble with the police. And we also heard, on the other hand, that the police has also caused a lot of bodily harm, because we heard of, you know, we had the case with Michael Brown we've been hearing about, and we also heard about a lot of other, you know, killings, you know, by the police. You know, so tell me, you know, so you insulted 3 different officers, right?
Attempted assault.
You attempted
if it was an assault, I'd have a felony.
Okay, so tell me about this.
It was just I was drinking, and the neighbor called one time, and I was like, oh, I'll keep it down, I'll keep it down. And they left, and about 10 minutes later, I'm yelling at the neighbor, you stupid MFer, dumb B, you know. And,
so you was just basically out of control.
Yeah, and they were downstairs still, so they came back, and they're like, we got to take you now. And I'm trying to talk my way out of it again. I'm like, no, I'll be good. Well, they just heard that 10 minutes ago. So they come in, and I think they pushed me in the chest or something, or pushed me, or, you know, I wasn't really resisting arrest, but I probably was. So I pushed them back, and next thing I know, I got flipped over my couch, my coffee table, and my arm behind my back and pinned to the floor, which I brought upon myself, because I should have just, as if I was sober, I would have went with them. But if I was sober, I wouldn't have made the decision to do all the stuff that brought them to my door anyway.
Mm-hmm. So it's your own doing.
Yeah.
You know, that caused you to get into trouble with the police.
It was my own doing, with the help of alcohol making me not be able to make the proper decisions.
So when you pushed that cop, you know, you said the cop flipped you over and then put your hands behind your back and he hauled you out, but he didn't give you any beatings though or anything like that?
No, there was 2 of them. They were big. They could have just kind of grabbed me a lot, you know, and just got me handcuffed and stuff, but they wanted to use a little obsessive force to show me that I couldn't put my hands on them. The way they pushed me, I couldn't push them back.
So otherwise, they were showing you that they had the power to do anything to you.
Right.
But you don't have that type of power to do anything back to them. Right.
I believe that, I won't say no names, but I don't think the president should be involved on, you know, he's a politician, I'm aware of that, but I don't think he should have got involved, because he almost made like a race war kind of, you know, hanging out with the Black Panthers and then saying his viewpoints. That he could have had those viewpoints, but he didn't need to share them and fuel.
When did the president hang out with the Black Panthers?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I think he went to one of their shindig things.
But that's
like
just information
afterwards.
But that's hearsay.
But he
right?
did talk about, like Ferguson. He talked about stuff where he could have just had his people, you know, do their research and handle it. So he shouldn't have been given his viewpoints to where he may have fueled a race war or made blacks feel like they had to pull out the black card and feel like they were disrespected. Well, I have a lot of black friends, but I don't think the president, if it was a white guy or whatever, I don't think he would have said jack. So I'm not, the president, I mean, everybody's gonna make, you know, you're not supposed to talk politics, religion, you're not supposed to ask a woman her age, and you're not supposed to ask her if she's pregnant.
So basically, you feel that the president shouldn't have made any comments?
Well, he could make a comment, but the way he said it was just like when they had the riots and the Michael Brown's stepfather or whatever.
Exactly. What is it that the president said? Because I'm missing something here. What did he say?
I'm not sure word for word. I just know that he shouldn't have said anything. He should have just handled stuff from his end. He shouldn't have tried to voice his opinion about how race is being wrong and all that, because we all know that from Martin Luther King days to how it's changed.
Do you think that race issues, here in this country, have gotten better since the Martin Luther King days?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I also think that they're never going to be all the way,
Right.
Like if you and I were defending our country, and I don't want to say, I'll just say Chinese, or I won't use no slang terms or nothing. But if they came to America and they started disrespecting you and me and some other Americans, it wouldn't matter if you were white and I was black, because instantly they'd be Japanese, and we'd all get together and stomp. Excuse my language, but so there's a little race war in everybody. So I think black and white are a lot closer now, and we don't need the president or anybody to take away from what's already been fixed upon. But I don't think it's ever going to get...
Fox News, though? Let's talk about, what about Fox News? Because Fox News has done a great job in dividing this country apart, though, because they report things that's not accurate and not true. And Fox News know this, though. They always, it's just like BCK radio station here in town, though. They always have something negative to say about the president. Every day you hear something negative about the president.
About any president.
No, it's not about any president. Let me correct you here, because I think you deserve to be corrected here at this point. No, BCK is everything about Obama, everything about black and white situation. So how, I don't think it's fair for you to say that, the president shouldn't have said anything about certain things and certain manners.
Well, when he was a social worker.
But what about Fox News? Because, Fox News is the one with the network.
Well, I believe all the news stations could put a lot better news than just the negativity that they instill in everybody, because that's how they get their paychecks. Every once in a blue moon, the newspaper might print a good story that's inspirational, but the media and the public and all that, they feed on this negativity. It's a lot easier to point out, whoa, this is wrong. It's like me talking about the president or whatever.
Right.
It's a lot easier to say, okay, this is what he did wrong, or I go to church and this is what the pastor did wrong, instead of looking for the things they did right.
Right. Absolutely.
Like Obama, he was a lawyer. He was a good human services or whatever. He helped the people a lot.
Talk about some of the good things.
But Fox,
while we on the but while we on the subject of speaking about the president, he brought Saddam bin Laden down. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
He also made sure, that people get health care,
He also tried to take away from the vets to give health care. He also said by 2015 that he'd have all the service people out of there. We got 9,800 people there right now, and he wants to authorize another 10,000 to 20,000
Well,
people.
isn't that goes along with the territory? Most presidents say that
they done did what they need to do there.
But didn't the president end the war?
No.
He ended?
No.
Oh, he didn't. Who
there
did?
was four.
Because Bush most certainly did.
No, but the Bush administration just wanted to.
Was the worst administration of all time.
Yeah,
so we can say that.
They wanted to raise the price of oil because they have so many oil wells. But they had Saddam Hussein, and Bush Sr. told Bush Jr. to let him go, which I didn't ever understand. Like, a lot of good things for the country. I'm surprised. I'm surprised
I want you to tell me this.
I'm surprised the white supremacy groups in Utah or whatever, Salt Lake. I'm surprised he wasn't taken out the first year of office. But they probably didn't want to start a race war, which is a good thing. But
so you think that they were planning on doing things like that?
I think that in Honolulu in 1961 there ought to be a thing that it states that he was born. I think that he's not really black because he's only half black. He's Kenyan and Honoluluan or whatever.
No, let me correct you there. Obama is biracial.
Yeah.
His mother is white. She's not a Hawaiian. She is white.
And his dad's
father
Kenyan.
Is African.
Okay.
He's African.
Let's get off of the Obama thing.
But wait a minute, because you brought me here, so let me continue this. So by him being,
sorry, Fox News.
But it's not that he's, black or white, because that doesn't make any difference at all. His skin color should not make any difference, and I want to make that clear.
It doesn't.
Here in the United States, we're always looking at skin color. And maybe that's some of the problems that we have here in the United States, because we're always looking at skin color. Instead of judging a person for the content of their character, yet we judge them for their skin color. And anybody that's out there judging anyone, based on their skin color, is just absolutely wrong. To judge someone because of their skin color, though.
And at the same time, all the black people that are getting judged, a lot of them aren't getting judged, but they like to pull out that black card real quick. Because
you're talking about.
I'm talking about them judging us because we're white.
But I think that it sounds very ignorant,
It sounds ignorant to just think that it goes one way.
No. Nothing goes one way. Everything goes on a two-way
and
street.
I realize
but I
that
think
the
it's
blacks.
very ignorant of you to say that all blacks, because
I didn't
it's not
say all
black.
blacks.
Yes, you did. I could roll back the tape. You said all blacks, but it's all blacks is not
Okay.
playing
Majority of the black
card.
people I know, if you say something wrong, it's instantly, it was racial and this and that, instead of analyzing the facts. A lot of it.
What about most things in this country?
Could have been racial, but a lot of it was just they would have treated a white person the same exact way in that situation as they would have treated you.
Okay, well, you said that you stated that you pushed a cop. And you were drunk pushing the cop. But you didn't get your butt beat, and you didn't get killed either, though. You know. But if that had been a black man, so maybe, because a lot of black, if that had been me pushing a cop, what do you think? I wouldn't be doing this show today.
It could have been.
But
it could have been.
But it ain't no could have been if I did it.
Okay. It could have been. What do you mean there ain't no could have been? There's been a lot of black officers that have killed white people.
Like who?
Where if they were doing a show.
Like who?
There was one in Utah.
Like who?
I'm not gonna. I'll do the research. You give me 10 minutes, I'll give you a whole list.
I can give you 10 years and you can't find one.
Oh, shit.
Let's get
Sorry,
back to
Obama. Sorry, Fox News. Sorry, all the black people that pull out the race card. But a lot of the times, it wasn't a racial thing. You're just pulling out the race card because it's like you go into a white place, there's 20 white people working there and 5 people. Instead of the 10 white people that went to school and all that should get hired, you say, oh, they should hire me because I'm black, but you didn't go to college.
That is not true.
A lot
because
of them.
I went to college.
Okay.
You didn't go to college.
Okay.
I'm the one sitting up here with the graduate degrees behind my name.
And then
you didn't go to college, though. And you know what? And usually, you know what? It ain't playing the race card, though. I'm a graduate from the University of Minnesota. A 99.9%.
How many people
Hold up. A 99.9% white university that I'm a graduate from. And stuff. So it wasn't, I most certainly didn't play the race card.
When he didn't go to college, since he's got 3 or 4 or 5 years experience, that's what they want anyway. They don't want the guy that went to school, did everything he was supposed to. They want somebody with the experience that it doesn't make no sense.
Yeah.
And the best president we've had, and he didn't do too much, but the best president, as far as economics and all that, was Hillary Clinton. Well, I'll say Bill Clinton, but she was running the show, But he was bringing the gays and stuff into the military.
Well, wait a minute.
They called him the teddy bear the teddy bear president in Europe. But our economy was straight.
Wait a minute. Let me intercept the conversation for a second, because I like to know, how was President Clinton, the former President Clinton, how was it that he was bringing gays into the military? They probably was already there.
Well, they were there, but he was one of the ones that first allowed them to be there.
Allowed them to be there.
And he didn't really allow them because he told them, you can speak up now, you can come clean. And there was a whole bunch of them get put out after they came clean.
Is it something wrong to have gays in the military?
No. It doesn't matter.
When you was in the military, was there gays in the military?
Yeah, but I wasn't one.
Did they do their job well, or?
I don't know. I didn't work with them.
Oh,
but I imagine being gay wouldn't make you any less of a worker than being, if you're in a wheelchair or whatever. As long as you do your job, it shouldn't matter if you kiss guys at home or if you're a transgender
But
or
that
what.
didn't have nothing to do with President Clinton.
Right.
Nothing.
And
if there were
and
gays
President
in the
Clinton,
military, it's because they were already there. President Clinton, they had nothing to do with that.
The one I like the most about Obama is even though the Republicans and everybody's all up, I want to say they're all up his butt, he still does presidents. They do like this, and they're the puppet master behind the president. He just kind of goes with what the.
Yeah, but I would think that President Obama.
I like Obama
President
in some
Obama
ways,
does not do
but
what he
I
wants to
don't
do.
like
He
him in
does the
some
things
ways.
that needs to be done, and I'm quite sure there's a lot of rules and regulations that he must follow in order to do anything, and it has been really hard on the president to do anything. It's just because of other people.
Obama done.
Barack Obama.
You said he's done this health care thing. Okay, then why did they have to fight to try to keep our benefits? He's helped
because
he's helped the medical and stuff. Where did he get the money? He took it from the homeless people that instead
How
of
can you take money from a homeless person when they don't have any money?
Because instead of getting like $200 a month, if you go through DHS and stuff, now they get like 150. If you look at the statistics,
that's not Obama's cutting.
I know. But,
I mean, that's not his cutting. That is your.
And he's not
Snyder about that. You from the state of Michigan,
and
right?
He's not
so I think you should talk
He's not
to,
the one that's over there fighting for our freedom to keep everything from escalating into
and
a
President
World War
Bush
III,
daughters wasn't
and it's
over there
coming
fighting
anyway.
either.
It's coming anyway.
Yeah, but what president? Come
None.
on. In all honesty, what president stands over, to another country and fight a war? Come on, let's get real here.
Right.
We got to get real here, though. But we didn't come on the show to talk about politics. We didn't come on the show to talk about government and stuff like that. We're making conversations about you in the Navy.
Right.
So let's get back to that.
Yeah.
We're going to go into a
and
short
sorry,
break.
Obama.
Yeah, it's good. We're going to go into a short break, and we come back. We'll continue our
You ain't gonna
conversation. We'll be right back. No.
Want to make conversations and be a guest on The Latimer Show? Like us on Facebook, The Latimer Show, with real people, with real conversations.
You're watching The Latimer Show.
With all this drinking that you've done, it has led you to go to treatment. So tell me about that.
Well, I've been through treatment like 3 times. Back in 2002, I went through treatment and I wasn't really ready. I was just tired of my life. Mm-hmm. And then,
in what way?
I was tired of being depressed, tired of not achieving the goals that I set out to achieve. Mm-hmm. Tired of living in motels and just trying to drink myself through another painful day to forget.
Has a lot of the military, being in the military, has that caused a lot of pain for you? Now that you're not in the military anymore.
Not really. What really bothers me is all the homeless and stuff that there shouldn't be a homeless person in this world.
That's right.
Like in America, if you look up the statistics, there's more vacant homes than there are homeless people. And that just doesn't make any sense. I don't say enable everybody and, give them a crack house to live in, but, man, there shouldn't be homeless.
You're absolutely right. It should not be homeless, especially in a country like this, the great United States. We shouldn't have homeless people on the street, though, and it's very sad. And, when you see someone that's struggling, and homeless on the street,
And the majority of them are vets. I like everything in a certain place because it causes intense anxiety if I have to look for something that I know where it's supposed to be anyway.
Did you have this condition before you were in the military or afterwards?
I probably got it while I was in the military because I was trying to do everything right for them, but I don't know. But I'm also...
Let's talk a little bit about life in the military because it seems like you went through a lot of emotional stress by being in the military, and it also affected you to some degree after being out of the military. So let's talk about the life in the military, though, because you were very young in the military. You were like, what, 21 or 22 years old, though. So, and a lot of things happen. When you 21 and 22, of course, I was sitting up in at a university, someone's grad school, at that age. But you actually started off experiencing life,
Well, when I was
like
15 and a half, I started experiencing life because I was paying for my place to live, and I was staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'd have ketchup and toilet paper and everything in my apartment, and then going to school and trying to have a normal life while everybody else is just living off their parents still. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. As far as all the problems I've had in life, it was lame, but God can turn around and use it for good, because now that I've been through it all, maybe I can give advice or something to somebody going through it now, so they don't have to go to the next step of what I went through. They don't have to go through the pain. They just need more people that aren't just book smart, that understand. You could tell me a zillion things that you've read in a book, but to actually experience it is a whole different story.
Right.
And you can have a really good understanding because of what you read in a book.
Right.
But to have a gun pointed at you or have a knife put in your stomach is a little different than reading about a gun or a knife put in your
Reading about
stomach.
it is one thing, but actually walking in those shoes is another thing. Yes, I can feel you on that.
But I guess what I can say is I learned a lot of things the hard way. I wouldn't trade my life for nothing, because God says He won't give you any more than you can handle. So I'm not Job, but I've been through a lot that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy to live the chaos. Lose your family, lose your kids, lose your wife, lose your mother, be stabbed.
Is it fair to say that you just have a little bit hyperactive, or you hyper to some degree?
Yeah, I've always been that way.
Ever since growing up?
I made jokes like, if you want me to shut up, you better have like some duct tape, a big wood dowel cone, big on one end, small on the other, a hammer to pound it in there, some duct tape to wrap around there, maybe some duct tape to put my arms behind my back, and you might want to tape my feet too, because I could probably figure out how to get one of them feet up there and get it off.
So how effective is your treatment plans?
Everything is good, but after they put me on this new drug, then I'm real excited, because I've been fighting this war with myself, and my brother, he got hit by a car, so he was schizophrenic. I had a cousin that was schizophrenic, so I know what that's like. They put him on Demerol, Thorazine, and my brother, I got to watch from being like 165, being a good breadwinner, having sports car and all, nice wife and everything, to go from that to being 300-pound vegetable, doped up on these drugs, and they ain't doing that to me. So my whole life I wouldn't have testosterone and all that, and I've got to man up. I can't ask for help because that's little girls that ask for help. Sorry, I'm not trying to stereotype, but men need to ask for help and be men. It takes more of a man to ask for help than it does to not ask for help, and you just end up screwing up 20 years of your life. Anyway, so back to what you were saying. Hyper, yes, very hyper.
Drug abuse started for you. Did you experience this as a child?
I never really had, I tried every drug but heroin. But I was born in the last of the 60s, and most of my brothers and sisters went through the 60s because they were born at the late 40s and early 50s. And then I've got one sibling that was like the role model of all the family or whatever. She's the rich one and the one that, not to put you down, Jessica, but she's the one that had it all together.
Right. Was it
And
hard?
I kind of followed in my footsteps of some of my cousins and stuff that went through the high school. So my sister was dating the valedictorian her senior year. She was like one of the princesses, not the queen, but very popular. And I was more into drugs and alcohol and girls.
So drugs did start, the drug abuse started when you was back in high school or grade school, somewhere around there though.
Yeah.
And then it just took the flight from there. You know, that's really interesting though, because sometimes though, you know, a lot of people, when they have children and their kids are acting out, the first thing for them to do is to take them to some physician and put them on some type of medication, you know, such as like Ritalin or
Strattera, or all the things they put my son on.
Instead of disciplining your child and talking with your child, they end up on these drugs, and then later on in life, you know, they have these problems. Some of the problems that me and Joe are sitting here discussing here today on the show. You know, we're going to go into a short break, and when we come back, we will continue our conversation with my friend here, Joe. We'll be right back.
I don't want another drinking man in my life. I want to feel more fulfilled. Does my happiness depend on whether someone else drinks? My pastor suggested I try Al-Anon family groups, and I'm glad I did. Are you troubled by someone else's drinking? You might be surprised at what you could learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
The police called after midnight when they caught our son at a drinking party. It was a real wake-up call. A policeman suggested we try Al-Anon family groups. I didn't want to go to a meeting, but I'm glad I did. Are you troubled by someone else's drinking? You might be surprised at what you could learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
So tell me, Joe, how was it for you growing up?
I don't know. It was the same as everybody else. I mean, I pretty much, you know, there was the stoners and the jocks and everybody, but I knew what clique I was in. But if I could have known all the abuse and stuff I was doing to myself, instead of just thinking I was having fun, I'd go back and change it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't like the kids today that just get put on Ritalin or Strattera or all these drugs because they're hyper and stuff, and the doctors just assume, oh, they got ADHD or ADD, when they need to do more tests on them so they can figure out the other disorders they have to get them the real help they need, rather than just send them out and put them on a few drugs. It puts them in, you know, helps them sleep and stuff. Like, they probably, as hyper as I am, they'd probably want to put me on Depakote or like 600 milligrams Seroquel drip or Klonopin. Or
have you been on those kind of drugs before?
I've done some downers. I've had liquid codeine. I've had hydrocodone. I've had Black Beauties, Antibars.
But these
Xanax.
are drugs that was not prescribed by a physician, right?
But I liked them because they always made me calm, and it was something that the average person was normal. I mean, they were normal to where it made them really high, but me, it just kind of calmed me down to where I was kind of like most people are normally.
Now, who influenced you to take these street drugs?
First time I got high, I was 14, and I was kind of upset because I didn't get high at first. I'm like, well,
but you drank at 8 years old, right?
Yeah, but I didn't drink again until I was like 14.
Okay.
But far as influence, I want to say girls, because
well,
my friends were I probably had a little bit of peer influence, but it was mainly, I knew if I had some pot or if I had some drinks, then the girls would want to have some of my drinks or some of my pot or some of whatever I had, because they wanted to get high and experiment too. And then it was easier to do all the bad things that I shouldn't have been doing with girls anyway at that age. But I want to get back to helping people. My mom had what I have for like 67 years.
And that's being bipolar? Or?
Yeah, she was. She probably had all three of them. But she was always real tense, and they finally got her on Zoloft. And a lot of my family call it the happy pill. Well, growing up, my mom was always like, you know, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with her, but I knew there's something wrong with her. I always knew there was something wrong with me, but I wasn't about to tell anybody, and I thought I could hide it. I hid it pretty well to where I've been through treatment and stuff, and nobody knew. But as far as my family and stuff that's known me my entire life, I was probably always the black sheep because I wouldn't want to conform to the natural, normal way of people being. I want to be me, and if you don't like it, oh well, you know.
Now, where was your father at during all of this?
My father was a good father. He didn't drink. I mean, I'm sure he drank when he was young, but my father was the oldest of 15. I'm the youngest of 7. So he's the patriarch now. There's about 550, 650 of us.
So what kind of role did your father play in your life?
He taught me, that, you know, that when you do something, do it to the best of your ability. He corrected me whenever I was wrong. If I came home and said something about the Bible that somebody said, my dad had a photographic memory, and he'd say, go look up this verse. And I'd come back and, you're right, Dad. And I always thought, well, it must have skipped a generation, because if I'm 20% as smart as my dad, I'd be probably 60% smarter than the average human that walks the face of this earth. And to my father-in-law, who stepped up and adopted my kids, because through this drugs and alcohol, all the problems. I didn't treat my wife right. Didn't treat my kids right. I wasn't a good bread provider, you know. So at the same time, I have some views different the way I would have raised them and stuff for a lot of reasons. There's white girls, dads that disown them for sleeping with a black guy, you know, or so much that they kick them out of the house, you know, at 16 or 15. That's really good for your daughter. So just because you don't agree with her sexual preference or whatever, you probably should have raised her not to be having sex at 15 in the first place.
Absolutely.
Not worried about if she's with a black guy or a white guy, because even if she gets pregnant by a white guy, how's that going to help her at 15?
Right.
You know, she ain't going to go to college. She ain't going to be able to go to the dances and all that. She's going to have to find a babysitter just to go to school and, you know, live a normal life. Anyway, that's a long story, but I want my kid to have help, and I know that he can get his help now. So he won't have to fight this fight that I've been fighting for 45 years. We can nip it in the butt before his 19th birthday, and he can live a life where he'll be able to focus, and he won't have to have all the wars going on.
Your son is not involved in street drugs, right?
My son is in a Christian home. He goes to church every week. He goes to Sunday school, church. He goes on vacations about 4 times a year. My father-in-law is like really into God, and he's provided for all his needs. And he misses me, and I miss him.
How's your relationship with your son right now?
Well, one of the values that I've learned about since I've been through treatment is family is one of my strong values. So I try to call him every week at 3:30. Hello, everybody. Big wimp, but that's okay. I got feelings.
It's okay.
And then he knows at 3:30 I'm gonna call him. Where the old Joe, he's like, well, Dad said he's gonna call me, so we'll see if he calls, you know. Now he knows at 3:30 to be around the phone because I'm gonna call, because I make it a priority. I don't care where I am. If I'm in a meeting with the president, just a second, Mr. Obama, I gotta call my son and tell him I'll get back to him in 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
So So my family's very important. My first and most important is my Father God is in heaven, because he's the one that gives and provides for all my needs, the help I've gotten through the VA, you know, the patience my ex-wife had with me for 18 years, where she should have left me the first 2 years, all the stuff the decisions I had to make from putting myself through all the chaos I put myself through. He's been there the whole time, and he showed me that he's always been there. Even when I was drunk, he was there, you know, saving me from something. And now, since everything's starting to get all right again, I just got to stay away from that first drink. But that's not really what I had to change.
Well, that's pretty hard to do, though, isn't it?
I had to change everything. I had to change the way I think, to change the way I react, to change the way I look at things, change the way I treat people, to change the way I listen to people. And I'm still having a hard time, because you're not going to disrespect me. I don't care if you're, you know, 300 pounds and you're built like Hulk Hogan. If you disrespect me, I'm going to stop you right in your tracks, and I'm going to say, you're not going to talk to me that way. This is how you should talk to me. And if you can't talk to me that way, I'm going to let myself leave away from your presence, because I'm going to avoid talking to you, because you're not going to disrespect me. I deserve the same the respect that I give you. If you can't give it to me, then that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion, but I don't have to sit here and listen to your opinion.
You know, change their life around.
All I can say is don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up for your past mistakes. Learn from them, you know? We all want what's best for our children. You definitely don't want them to go through life and treat them the way that maybe you just, you know, how you treat them wrong. And you definitely don't want them treating women the way you may have treated women wrong. And you don't want them to settle for nothing that is not the best, because they're your children. But at the same time, a lot of times, instead of being so stubborn-headed, try to stand back and look at the way you act from somebody else's point of view, because we're not all right, man. We're not. Every day we can learn something in life. And if you don't learn something every day, I think you're ignorant. That's just my opinion. I'm entitled to that. But, you know, it's so easy to complain about things. If we could just learn to love like we're supposed to anyway, and help each other, there wouldn't be so much pain in this wonderful world, that if you look around, there's a lot of good things to be thankful for. And one of them, us vets gave you, is the freedom to make decisions. And don't be afraid to ask for help.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you here today on the show, you know, and that's all the time that we have for the Lattimore Show. And I want you to stay tuned for a future Lattimore Show. You know, Joe, it's really been a pleasure, and thank you for coming on the show.
Well, I don't know what you're going to take off and what you're going to keep on, but it's been a pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you. Peace out. We always say peace out.